Hi, my name is Dr. Ingrid Clayton. I'm a clinical psychologist, a trauma therapist, and a trauma survivor. And today I want to talk about 3 of my favorite ways to regulate my nervous system. So we talk about this a lot in trauma therapy and in trauma healing, nervous system regulation. And it's like, what is that? Okay, so without even going into a huge conversation about that, I'm going to give you 3 tools that you can practice even right now as I'm telling you about them. The first one is called Orienting with the Senses. So this comes out of Peter Levine's work. His model is called Somatic Experiencing. It's a popular trauma therapy. And basically what you do is you use the senses to come into present time and place. And so right now, I want to invite you, if it feels right for you, to look around the room and just notice what you see. And what I noticed, even before I finished that sentence, is I took a spontaneous deep breath, which is wonderful because it's an indicator that I'm regulating my nervous system, even as I'm just modeling this for you. So a spontaneous deeper breath is a great sign that you're moving in the right direction. So all you're going to do is just notice what you see. Some people like to name the thing. This can be helpful if you're feeling really triggered and maybe not in your body. Naming the thing can kind of allow your prefrontal cortex to come back online, just even looking for the language of like leaf or plant. But you don't have to name it. You can just notice and look. And if you find something that's particularly capturing your attention, allow your gaze just to linger there. Another breath. It could be a color or a shape or the light, an object that you love. I often intentionally orient to nature, living natural things. I find that is also really helpful for me. I have a window right here. I can look outside and see trees or clouds. So this is orienting with sight. But some people don't like to orient necessarily visually as much as they might use another sense. So you can practice with all of them. You can close your eyes and notice what you hear. And notice what you hear, how it impacts the way that you feel in your body. It might be the sound of my voice right now. It could be ambient sounds in your room. I can hear the traffic down below over here. And then just notice what you're experiencing as you listen. And then, of course, there's what we can touch, there's what we smell, and there's what we taste. And one practice that some people like to do is a way to really just bring all of the senses in. So you can have a favorite sort of channel. For me, it's visual. I do that most often. But some people like to go through all 5 and they go, okay, I'm just going to name 5 things I can see. I'm going to see what 4 things I can touch and how they feel. As I go to touch, I go, oh yeah, I am often doing fidgeting, right? Fidgeting can really actually also help us to regulate. I do it all the time without knowing, but we can do it intentionally. So at some point this morning, I took off my bracelet and I started playing with it in my hands, but I can actually do it on purpose and go, what? Look at a spontaneous deep breath when I just even think about allowing myself to get to play with the feeling of my bracelet in my hand. Okay, so that's 4 things you can touch, 3 things you can hear, 2 things you can smell, 1 thing you can taste. And just let yourself roll through all of the senses. So that's based on orienting. That is my first tool for nervous system regulation. The second one that I love, super, super simple, is just placing your hand on your heart. Spontaneous deep breath. Another one, 2 in a row. Bonus. This is just an act of self-compassion, and I genuinely feel that for myself when I place my hand on my heart. And I do this all the time now spontaneously, which I love. It's just like, I see myself, I love myself, I'm taking care of myself, I am here. It just evokes a lot of these feelings for me. And also, putting the hand on the heart, and what I'll often tell people to do is to try to do skin to skin if you can, and if it feels good for you. This is like how when a baby is born and we put that baby right on top of mama's chest, that's skin to skin, because it releases oxytocin, which is the feel-good, yummy bonding hormone. It's why we hold babies right here, the crook of our neck. It's why when we hug and we kind of nuzzle in, we're exchanging that oxytocin, yummy bonding hormone. And this allows me to release it by myself, for myself. So just see how it feels right now, and then notice what you're experiencing in your body. And number 3 is based on bilateral stimulation. So this is another thing we talk about in trauma healing. It really comes out of EMDR, Dr. Shapiro's model of eye movement desensitization and reprocessing. I always have to think that through. It's a long name, EMDR. It's another form of trauma therapy, and it's based on bilateral stimulation, which is connecting the right and left hemispheres of the brain. So one of the ideas is that in trauma, when we are stuck in that survival mode and particular memories have not been processed, they are stuck and stored in right hemisphere, psychological memory. And by connecting right and left hemispheres of the brain as you're working through some of these traumatic memories, you're moving that material over to left brain objective memory that can place it even in proper tense, where it's not that it's taking away your memory. You'll always have your experience. No one can take that away from you, but it's not in the front seat of the driver's seat anymore. It's in the past. It's something that happened to you. It doesn't feel like it's happening now. Okay, so we also now know that we can use this bilateral stimulation just to help us regulate our nervous system, to feel more safety, to feel more presence. And originally it was based on eye movements, where a client would track the therapist's fingers, right, left, or a light bar. Particularly in the pandemic, a lot of therapists were suddenly on Zoom. We've never done that before. They're having clients self-stimulate the bilateral stimulation. And the nice thing about this is that the person can decide what pace, they can decide how much pressure, and it's solely based on what feels right to that person, and what feels right to one person might not feel right to another person. Trauma healing, more than probably anything else, is so individual. The question is, how does your nervous system respond? So listen, you might enjoy one of these things that I offer and go, oh yeah, this orienting thing, I like that, or be like, no, that doesn't work for me. There's no right or wrong. There's just what works or doesn't work for you. So back to bilateral stimulation, we can experience bilateral stimulation in all kinds of ways. We can drum, get a hand drum even. Oh, and those vibrations. I just love everything about that. I don't have a drum here right now, but you get the idea. Dancing, swaying, left to right. And what I love to do, and sometimes I'm better at doing it regularly than others, is going for a walk. Breath. You don't have to do anything else. It's literally just walking. And it works so well that even in my life, my husband, if he can tell that I'm a bit like I got stuff going on, I'm having a harder time, he'll ask me, do you have time to go for a walk? And I go, oh, you know what, I can. And even if it's just a walk around the block, it doesn't have to be going out for an hour and a half. It's just moving the body right, left. And what I like to couple with that, this is just me personally, is music. So moving my body to music that moves me, it can just completely shift my mood. When I was in the middle of writing my memoir and I was going through just some deep triggers, some deep dives into my history and its impact on me, I was having a hard time. And I was on one of these walks, and Spotify gifted me with Brian Courtney Wilson's song, Fear Is Not Welcome. And I'm not a religious person, but I am a spiritual person, and I love gospel music. And the lyrics to this song were just like the perfect gift at the perfect time that I ended up just listening to it on repeat. I was even just singing it out loud in my neighborhood with my earphones in, giving my neighbors a little concert. But it was amazing. I mean, I was transformed by the time that I got home, right? Sometimes it's like a Sarah Bareilles anthem or whatever your thing is, try it. You know, it's so simple and so effective. So those are 3 ways that you can practice regulating your own nervous system. You can do it today. I'd love to know if any of these work for you, or if you have any others that you'd like to share in the comments. Let's share the wealth. Let's talk about how you come into your body, how you cultivate a sense of safety in this moment. And again, I'm Ingrid Clayton. Thanks for being here. Don't forget to subscribe, and we'll be talking lots more about complex trauma, healing from trauma, narcissistic family systems. That's my personal experience with complex trauma growing up in a narcissistic family system as a child. And I look forward to seeing you again.